At exactly 2 a.m., the most secure vault in America was opened. What investigators found inside would become the greatest robbery mystery in history. The vault door remained locked. The alarm system never activated. Yet billions had vanished. Security experts called it impossible. Yet the evidence suggested otherwise. Every second of surveillance was reviewed. Nothing unusual appeared.
The guards never left their posts. Their statements matched every recorded detail.
Forensic teams searched every inch of the vault, hoping a single clue had been overlooked. Hours passed, but investigators found no fingerprints, no DNA, and no trace of the missing fortune. By sunrise, news of the impossible robbery had spread across the country. Then investigators uncovered one detail no one had noticed before: a classified black file hidden deep inside the vault. The investigator opened the mysterious file, expecting evidence of the robbery. Instead, he found photographs dated more than 30 years earlier. One photograph showed the vault before it was even completed. But behind the photograph was a handwritten message. They never found the second room. For the first time, investigators considered a terrifying possibility. The vault might contain a hidden chamber. Engineers searched the original blueprints. The mysterious room wasn't there.
Then a technician discovered an unusual gap beneath the eastern wall.
But the strangest discovery was waiting inside that unexplained space. Someone had written a date on the door. It was tomorrow's date. At sunrise, the investigation team returned to the underground passage. The door had no handle, no keypad, and no visible mechanism. Then the technician noticed something hidden beneath layers of dust. It matched the symbol found on the black file.
The coincidence was too precise to ignore.
Engineers were called in to determine what was behind the sealed door. The scan revealed an empty chamber beyond the wall.
But the chamber wasn't empty.
Something had been deliberately placed inside decades ago. The containers carried dates from more than 30 years earlier. Inside one container, investigators discovered dozens of old photographs. One photograph showed the vault's original construction crew, and one face appeared in another photograph found inside the black file.
Investigators had no name for the man.
Then they found a handwritten list containing 27 names. That name belonged to someone who had never worked at the facility. But one name had been added recently. Every name belonged to someone connected to the vault. Then the system identified the name, and the investigation took a completely unexpected turn. The name belonged to a man who had supposedly died 31 years earlier.
His name was Victor Hale, and according to official records, he had been dead since 1993.
But his name had appeared on a list created only days ago.
Someone had deliberately added a dead man's name to the evidence.
The team searched every available record for Victor Hale. His records ended abruptly in 1993. There was nothing after that. Then, a financial analyst discovered something buried in an old transaction archive. A dormant account connected to Hale had become active again. Someone had accessed it only 48 hours before the robbery. The investigators now had their first connection between the past and the robbery. But there was still one question. Who had accessed the account? The access record contained no name, only a location. And that location was less than 20 miles from the vault.
Investigators drove there before dawn.
They found an abandoned farmhouse surrounded by empty fields. There was no vehicle outside, no lights, no sign anyone lived there. Then he noticed fresh footprints in the mud.
Someone had been there recently.
Inside, they discovered a room filled with old newspaper clippings. Every article described the vault's history. Someone had been studying the facility for decades. But one photograph appeared to have been taken only hours earlier. The photograph showed the vault's eastern entrance. And in the corner of the image, someone was standing. The face was impossible to identify.
But the investigator recognized the clothing.
The same figure had appeared on surveillance the night of the robbery.
For the first time, investigators had something that looked like a lead. But the lead created an even stranger question. If Victor Hale was dead, who was using his identity?
Then the farmhouse phone rang.
No one expected anyone to answer. He picked up. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then a man's voice whispered one sentence.
He said, "You were never supposed to find the second room."
Before anyone could trace the call, the line went dead.
Then the investigator noticed something on the desk. A photograph of the vault, taken from inside. The photograph proved one thing. Someone had entered the vault before the robbery. But the photograph contained another clue, hidden in the background. A reflection showed someone standing behind the camera. The figure wore a distinctive silver wristwatch. That watch appeared in an old photograph of the original construction team. The man wearing it was identified as Victor Hale.
But Hale had supposedly died decades before the robbery.
Then investigators questioned the original death record. The signature didn't match the handwriting on Hale's other documents. For the first time, the investigators considered a shocking possibility. Victor Hale may never have died at all. The team reopened every record connected to him. One old address led them to a forgotten storage facility.
Inside, they found boxes untouched for more than 30 years. One box carried the same symbol as the black file.
Inside were financial records, photographs, and one handwritten confession. The confession described a plan created long before the robbery. The goal wasn't simply to steal the fortune.
The fortune itself was being used as a distraction. The real target was information hidden beneath the vault.
And the missing fortune had forced investigators to open it.
Inside the final container was a small recording device.
The recording contained a voice investigators had heard before. It was the same voice from the mysterious farmhouse call.
The impossible mystery finally had a human voice.
But the voice wasn't Victor Hale's. Someone had been using Hale's identity for years.
And that person had access to the vault.
Investigators finally found the connection they had been missing. The robbery wasn't designed to empty the vault. It was designed to erase the past. The missing fortune was the perfect distraction. And the mastermind had planned for investigators to discover the hidden room. Every clue had led them exactly where someone wanted them to go. But one final question remained. Where was the mastermind now? Then a new photograph arrived.
The photograph showed an older African-American man standing outside the airport.
On his wrist was the same silver watch from the original photograph.